Vanderbilt will have the football. And the first series will be very important for the Commodores. They need a couple of first downs. Can't fall behind like they did at Florida last week. There's the junior from Chattanooga, John Bexford, to handle the kicking duties for the Vols. And Tony Jackson, averaging 24 yards a return. Number 2 all-time in the SEC in kickoff return yardage. It's football time in Tennessee, they announce, and Bexford is ready. Jackson will take it about 3 yards deep, and that'll be it. Ronnie Gordon, the redshirt freshman from Albany, Georgia, runs things. He's 29 out of 74 passing, averaging only 40 yards a game. They can run the football a little bit as they run the option.
One of the things we're really going to want to watch, particularly early in the game, first down efficiency for Vanderbilt. That's crucial to their hopes for an upset.
This is a football team that cannot play third and long. The pitch to Jackson. Volunteers stack it up well. And nothing much going on the near side. Here's a look at the Mazda starting lineup for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Ronnie Gordon, of course, in the backfield, and Tony Jackson, the guy to watch back there.
Well, Jackson's going to be the key. They've got to get him the ball in a variety of ways to be effective and get Kenny Simon, the ex-quarterback, involved out of the split end spot.
Up front, Eric Dahlberg, a senior, may see some action at right tackle. He's coming back from a sprained knee suffered against Kentucky. After the loss of 1 on first down, they'll get about 3 or 4 on that side. Reggie Ingram in on the stop there, and up front, the Volunteers.
Boy, Wilson and Morris have played great on the corners for them. Yukowski has also played well. They've got a very solid linebacking core. Ingram making the tackle on the last play. Gallion from behind on the first down play. And a guy that I'm sure we're going to keep an eye on, the cornerbacks, Ronald Davis and Deron Jenkins, will get a lot of man coverage today.
Third down and 7. Only 31% the Commodores this year. Simon with a straight drop. He's going to go up the middle. Good defense there by Reggie Ingram, and the pass is incomplete. Jason Tomachek, the tight end, the intended receiver. Flags on the play and some rough stuff after a couple of hits.
I think they're going to call Reggie Ingram for unsportsmanlike conduct. The ball was dropped by Tomachek, and Ingram just kept on pushing him back and finally dumped him to the turf. Reggie can't believe the call, but it's going to enable Vanderbilt, I believe, to maintain possession, get the first down, unless they rule it's an offset. Watch what happens. Okay, Tomachek, ball's clearly gone. And now Ingram still working on Tomachek and throws him to the turf. And the official said that was unnecessary, and that's a bad penalty for Tennessee.
Now, it's possible he didn't know the ball was incomplete, but it didn't look that way. He was playing it right through the whistle, and they'll step off a big one against the Volunteers all the way out to the 38-yard line, and head coach will have a little talk with his senior middle linebacker.
I don't know if he's been tossed from the game or not for the comments he made to the officials afterwards. I think he might have been thrown out of the ball game. Incomplete. Now the whistle has probably blown, and Ingram kept going with it. And Reggie's sitting on the bench over there, threw his helmet down. I don't know if the Tennessee coaching staff removed him from the game or if he has been ejected from the game.
Only 23 seconds have elapsed, and the Commodores have the first down. Now the Volunteer crowd will get into it. Stadium not quite full today on a dreary Knoxville afternoon, but plenty of orange surrounding us. Tony Jackson with the deep give. Ball comes loose, and I believe it has been whistled dead.
It'll give this crowd another reason to boo. They've not been happy with the decisions that have gone against them so far, but what a play by Ingram's replacement, John Emery, who came flying through to make a good stop on Jackson. Watch number 46 from the left side of your screen. Again, sliding underneath against the option attack, whether it's out of the bone formation or the I formation. The middle linebacker's got to be able to scrape to the football.
Second down and 10. Play action to the deep man Jackson. Gordon up the middle. That one pulled down by Kenny Simon across the midfield stripe. And a Vanderbilt first down. You might remember last week, it was in the latter stages of the third quarter and throughout the fourth quarter at Florida that the combination of Gordon to Simon started looking a lot more confident really for the first time.
Well, it's not an easy transition. I mean, sure, everybody goes out and runs pass patterns and catches the ball as a youngster. But Kenny Simon was a quarterback throughout his career and now is trying to play a new spot.
That was a 12-yard gain. High bone stacked behind Gordon. Jackson kicks the ball right to the Volunteers. And it's Deron Jenkins with the pickup.
Those were the turnovers that absolutely killed Vanderbilt a week ago against Florida. In tennis, they would call that an unforced error. I mean, that's a pitch right into the hands of Tony Jackson, and then he compounds the error by drop kicking it right to Deron Jenkins.
And Jenkins with his fourth fumble recovery of the year.
Excuse me, they had 8 turnovers last week against Florida, and 6 of the 8 were turnovers just like that. Not really forced by the defense, just miscues by the offense.
Great field position for Heath Schuler and the Volunteers at the Vanderbilt 43-yard line. Single back. Outside to the right side, and running hard with it there is Billy Williams inside the 25. He is such a threat once he catches the passes of Heath Schuler. A 19-yard gain there for the junior out of North Carolina. Schuler, of course, has already set the single-season touchdown pass record here. He surpassed Dewey Warren's by 6, and he's within 1 of the all-time career record by Andy Kelly. We have word that Reggie Ingram was not ejected from the game. Charlie Garner on the reception out to the left side, and then near to a first down after the reception.
Mario Brunson getting the start at fullback in his final game at Neyland Stadium. Just great skilled people here for Tennessee, and then that solid offensive line. And what's been most impressive to me, Bob, is that those guys all played different positions last year. They were defensive linemen, and how well they worked together.
Kevin May's the only junior. The rest of them are second-year guys. There's Mose Phillips. He's got the first down, and he's down to the 12, maybe the 11-yard line. Vanderbilt, of course, had 8 starters returning to that defense, and they've been pretty solid all year long.
Well, their problem much of the season has been the turnovers by the offense, and they've just been out on the field too long. Good defensive line. Collins and Quarles are outstanding linebackers. Francis trying to come back from an ankle injury. They've got some solid people in the secondary. Not a very experienced group, but a good job they've done this year.
First down for the Volunteers. Schuler on a busted play will have to keep it himself and go out to the left side, and he'll get maybe a yard or so before he slides out of bounds. He doesn't run the football very much. That's his 46th carry of the year. He has scored 3 touchdowns on the ground, and he got a yard. It'll make it 2nd and 9 at the 10.
Fans thought the contact as our quarterback was a little bit beyond the sideline too, particularly after that earlier unsportsmanlike conduct call.
Well, with the sidelines wet like they are, we'll see a lot of apparent late hitting over there today. 16-game touchdown streak in motion. He goes to the right side, looking for a man open against the grain, and it is picked off by Rico Francis. Francis didn't play at Florida last week because of a sprained ankle suffered against Navy, and he has his first interception of the year. So the Commodores, after turning it over themselves, get the pick. They've got the football back. 10:28 to go. First quarter, no score.
An end zone look at the interception by Heath Schuler. Tried to throw back across his body. I guess he was looking for Craig Faulkner in the back end of the end zone, but badly underthrown. Maybe it was Corey Fleming underneath. Either way, it was not a good throw, and Rico Francis with the turnover.
On the first play, Tony Jackson, forget it. Volunteers all over him. James Wilson from left end and Ben Talley from right linebacker. That's nothing unusual for number 90. He's number 1 on this team, and that's tackle number 87 this year.
Bob, you talked about Vanderbilt not being a good second and long or third and long team, and I think with that in mind, Larry Marmee, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee, is going to try and be even more aggressive than Tennessee normally is on first down to set up the long yardage plays.
Gordon with an inside pitch, but staying home to make the play was Talley. And I stand corrected, 82 tackles on the year now. That was a little delay, and they tried to pitch it inside to Tony Jackson, and there's a good job of just staying home.
Well, it's a good safe play to call on second and long, but Ben Talley able to change his route. You see how he was making his move to try and put pressure on the quarterback, but out of the corner of his eye, the junior saw Jackson sliding underneath. He broke down, got in position, made a nice tackle.
Tony Jackson, 4 carries, minus 3 yards so far. And here's one of those third and longs, 3rd and 14. He's in trouble, and he is sacked back at the 5. Shane Bonham with his 4th sack of the year, all over the quarterback. And the Commodores are pushed back around the 9 is where the forward progress was stopped.
Tennessee leads the conference in quarterback sacks, and Shane Bonham came through almost untouched. Vandy trying to roll the pocket a little bit to help out Gordon, but no roll that time.
Bill Marinangel, a redshirt freshman from his own goal line, and he hits a nice one. It sends Sean Summers back to his 48. He's got some room on the left side, stumbles inside the 40. And the Volunteers will get the football back with good field position again. Scoreless through the first 6.5 minutes here in Knoxville. And we're back after this from your local SEC stations. Well, Jerry DiNardo's defense held, and then their offense couldn't move the football after the sack. Had to kick it away, and now the D is backed up again. Schuler and company inside the Vanderbilt 40-yard line on first down. Charlie Garner off the left side, trying to get outside. He did a good job to get away from Alan Young. And he'll get about 5 on the play. Appeared he might be stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, Young, the defensive right end for Vanderbilt, playing with a pulled groin muscle, and obviously a game of this magnitude, he wants to be out there. Reads the down block of Jason Lehman, but then is really popped nicely by Jeff Smith, the pulling guard on the play, and Garner able to bounce outside.
Second down and 5. Same man cuts outside, up, first down inside the 25. And it took Gerald Collins, the middle linebacker, to stop him. Charlie Garner, they haven't used him as much this year as they did last year when he ran for a team-leading 928 yards. He has a great 2-year total, and he is a busy guy in this multi-dimensional offense of Tennessee. Schuler out to the right side. Down around the 20, complete to Craig Faulkner, and Robert Davis wrestles him out of bounds.
Well, after throwing the interception, you could see Tennessee came back with a couple of running plays, and on the first pass here for Schuler, just an easy little turnout by the inside receiver out of the twin set Faulkner. That was done as much to regain some rhythm for Heath Schuler as it was to gain yards.
Simple pattern, got a couple of yards. Second down and 8. We're beyond the halfway mark in the first quarter. No score so far. Garner off the right side. And he is cracked down hard by Gerald Collins. Collins is the leading tackler for the Commodores. That'll be around 94 or 5 on the season. And Shelton Quarles, who had such a great game last week at Florida, holding that right knee.
I don't even know if he got hit or if that happened as he was just trying to get to the ball carrier. Quarles, the #2 tackler on the ball club, and a guy who does a great job pressuring on the perimeters. Let's see if we can see what happens to number 31. Watch the right side of your screen. Here's Collins scraping over to make the play. And I'm guessing he got someplace in there just out of frame. What happened to Shelton Quarles? Senior out of Nashville, you got to believe if he's able to come back, he'll try and do it. But the way he is being helped off right now, that's not a real positive sign for Shelton.
He's had an outstanding career. Well over 300 career tackles at Vandy. Now his backup is a true freshman, Jamie Duncan, but they do have Brad Brown, a senior, on the other side, who backs up Gerald Collins, and they also work in Mark Jeffcoat.
I think that's Jeffcoat in the ball game right now on 3rd down and 5.
Jeffcoat, a 6'2", 210 freshman. Schuler looked left, now goes right. He's got Garner down around the 15. The ball is dropped. And will they call it incomplete or a fumble?
Call it a fumble.
Vanderbilt has the football back. Byron King, the man recovering. That'll be his first fumble recovery of the year.
Tennessee has been so effective down in the orange zone inside the 20. Schuler just a little quick hitch route to Garner, and he did have the football because he caught it and took the step back to get around King and coughed up the football.
So
might have been Rico Francis, I think, that was actually making the hit on him, and King came away with the football.
Second big play of the day by Rico, coming off the injury, and Philip Fulmer, he's a little angry over there. Cliff Dees checks in for the Commodores offensively. Eric Willem, the wingback, the motion man. Straight ahead kick, and there's not much there for Dees, the sophomore out of Houston. He was a freshman All-SEC last year. That is 72nd carry, and James Wilson gets up after the tackle. And Shane Bonham collapsed on that left side.
Excuse me, Bob. That defensive front of Tennessee is a very vertical group. They are extremely aggressive, shooting the gaps when they think it's a good time to do it, and they have done that so far out of the tackle spots. Bonham with the sack before, Wilson there. Vanderbilt's going to have to make some adjustments on their blocking schemes.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Play action, look out, and they've got him again back around the 5 or the 6. The first man there was Raymond Austin. The second guy there was the right end, Horace Morris. And a second sack of the day, 37 on the year now for the Vols.
Safety blitz by Raymond Austin, number 28, right side of your screen. Gordon not able to get away from him. Morris finished it off. And Larry Marmee said, we're going to be aggressive, and they have really put Vanderbilt into situations in which their offense just does not perform that well. Not many offenses do, Bob.
Well, especially one that doesn't throw the football very well. They call a draw play. Good yardage up the middle to about the 19-yard line for the wingback, Eric Lewis. Jason Parker, the free safety, on the stop. Nice carry by Lewis, who's averaging 9 yards per carry this year. And the Commodores will have to kick it once more.
Again, Tennessee, you can see the hard charge of Shane Bonham, and they ran the draw play right by him. Good move to get away from Scott Gallion by Lewis, and gives a little bit of punting room now for Bill Marion Angel.
Yeah, the 14-yard gain, and he'll let this one go from about his own 10. John Summers has to come forward about 5 yards. They fake to reverse. He keeps it, and he will score! A 31-yard kick, a touchdown return of 51 yards, and Sean Summers puts the Volunteers on the board.
When you're playing a big rivalry game, you always expect gadget play. Sometimes the best gadget is not to use one. And a good picket fence sit up there as well. Summers untouched up the sidelines. Tennessee, after a couple of short circuits, puts points up on the board.
Bexford looking for his 115th consecutive extra point. Number 2 all-time in the SEC. And special teams play a big role here. 4:18 first quarter. Fouls on.
Back at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee has just stung Vanderbilt with that fake reverse. Basically, they have used this play once before. They did it against Louisville. Philip Fulmer was criticized for running up the score against the Cardinals, but he said they'd practiced it and wanted to use it. Nilo Sylvan scored on that one. Today they faked the reverse, and Sean Summers took it in.
And it's 7-0 Tennessee. 4:18 from the end of the first quarter. Vanderbilt will have the football back again as John Bexford, who set a new single-season SEC record with the extra points. And he sends one down to the 3-yard line for Tony Jackson. He'll try to cut to the near side, still on his feet after breaking a tackle. And he's down at the 15. And the Vanderbilt offense goes back to work, but work they have not done so far. 6 total yards on their first 3 possessions.
Well, I think Ronnie Gordon is going to be forced to do some play action passing on first down or some new wrinkle. They have to get that second and medium or second and short situation for themselves. Second and long is just not going to make it today.
Working out of the eye bone. And the deep pitch to Jackson, looking near side, got a good block on the corner. And he's out of bounds almost to the 19-yard line. Jason Parker, the free safety, on the stop. Reggie Ingram, who was taken out of the game in that first series after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, obviously has not been thrown out. And that's good news. I mean, who wants to play their last game at home as a senior and have that happen 23 seconds into the game?
And Ingram is going to be a key man in terms of defending the pitch man in the option.
Second down and 7. Willem, the motion man. They put it into the belly of the fullback, and Royce Love, the sophomore, drops it. Volunteers have the football. But was it dead? Ronald Davis coming up with it. But evidently when Royce Love's knee touched down, he still had the ball.
Watch the low angle here of the quick handoff to Love, the big 245-pound fullback. And how many times we heard ground cannot cause a fumble, and that's when it took place. See, Love is down there, and then the ball pops loose.
3rd down and 3 for Vandy. They've got to get a first down. Option left. He's in trouble, and a big play in the backfield. It was Scott Gallion, the left side linebacker. He got great penetration and was right there with the quarterback.
He makes the read, checks the dive man. His second responsibility is the quarterback, and that was just an effort tackle right there. But you talk to the Tennessee coaches, and they say that's the way that this young man does everything. Full out, and that play there turns out to force another punt.
Baron Angel punted 7 times at Florida last week. This is 3rd already. And he hits it off to the right a bit. He's going to get some bounce. Down to the 36 of Tennessee, maybe the 35. And believe it or not, that's the deepest in their own territory. The Volunteers will start a 44-yard kick.
The Tennessee fans certainly have to be happy about the 7-0 score, but probably just a wee bit of concern about the difficulties their offense has encountered thus far.
Volunteers take over. Let's check in quickly with Bob.
Yes, some good news for Vanderbilt. Shelton Quarles just suffered a hyperextended knee. He's back in the game right now, and he's a key member of that Vanderbilt defense.
Sure is, right in the middle. Charlie Garner off the left side. He's got his turf shoes on today, doesn't he? Looks like he got enough for the first down up over the 45-yard line, out of bounds just beyond the 46.
There's Shelton Quarles, the man that Bob was just talking about, back into the action. Boy, Mario Brunson with a fine block on Rico Francis to enable Garner to get around the corner again and pick up first down yardage.
Garner came into the game 62 yards shy of 2,000. And he's got it on the deep give. Breaks 2 tackles, gets on the corner, another first down. And he's finally jersey dragged by Aaron Smith. Gerald Collins appeared to have him at the line of scrimmage, but Charlie Garner escaped.
Watch the effort by Garner. Sort of, you relax yourself a little bit when you feel the contact, and you'd be surprised how many times tacklers bounce off of you because you're not tensed up and ready to go down. So what I asked David Cutcliffe why he played so well last week against Kentucky. He said because it was on grass. He said this kid's a grass player. Unfortunately for Charlie, the grass here at Neyland Stadium won't be in place until '94 and he'll be gone, but not too bad on carpet, let me tell you.
After that 24-yard gain, Garner now averaging better than 10 yards a carry. And he's closer and closer to 2,000.
David said he's better on grass because he says if anything, Garner cuts so hard on the carpet, wears down his joints.
Schuler just keeps giving it to number 30. He'll crack off the right side. Defense by John DeWitt and company. And that ball is on the carpet. What's going on now? It's a little slippery out there. A lot of turnovers here in the first quarter with 1:52 to go.
He actually did cough up that football, Bob, and Craig Faulkner, number 4 there, happened to be in the right spot to fall on it. Again, watch Garner, always in motion, never wants to give you a direct shot. And the ball did pop loose before he hit the ground. Fortunately for the Vols, Faulkner was there to recover it.
3 wide receivers on 2nd down and 8. Play action to Garner. Schuler ahead. And that was a wrong pattern run somewhere. That ball landed somewhere in between the short man, Faulkner, and another man deep in the end zone. It looked like Joey Kent had gone for 6, but the ball nowhere near him either.
We still have a little bit of the drizzle falling, but I mean, it's not really a serious rain right now that you would expect to affect the grip for Heath Schuler, but he's not had a real good feel for the football so far throwing it.
Facing now a 3rd down and 8. Out of the shotgun with plenty of time. He's got his man down inside the 10. And that is Billy Williams for the 2nd time today. A big play for a first down. 1st and goal at the 7 after a 21-yard completion.
Outstanding protection by the guys out front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds before he released the football on the deep crossing dig route by Billy Williams. When a quarterback has that much time, he's always going to find somebody open in the middle because the defense has to separate to cover more territory.
1st and goal from the 7. Schuler shotgun again. Looking right, and it's just off the fingertips of Corey Fleming. And the fans down in the end zone thought Rico Francis was all over him for pass interference.
Corey trying to get his 19th career touchdown for the Volunteers. Running the quick slant out of the spread formation. And the fans didn't like it, but that camera work, which was outstanding, by the way, clearly showed that the ball hit Fleming's hands before Francis hit him. Now, whether Rico grabbed him coming off the line of scrimmage, well, that's a different story.
Volunteers came in 43 out of 51 in the orange zone. Nothing much today. Their only score came from a punt return. Schuler bites off the tackle. Man open, but he's out of the end zone. Craig Faulkner. He was wide open, but his momentum carried him out by the time the ball got there.
Heath Schuler looked like he was going to run and get down close to the end zone. Somehow had the presence of mind to get rid of this ball before he crossed the line of scrimmage, but because he threw it off his back foot, you can see the nose of the football stayed up, and that means it's going to sail a little bit. and Faulkner just couldn't stay inside the back line.
Desperately trying to drag that 1 foot on the end line. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 7 with 4 wide receivers. Blitz coming, and encroachment there by Shelton Quarles. James Manley may have come up as well, battling with Bubba Miller in the middle. Couple of flags.
I think Quarles actually bumped Manley into the Tennessee offensive line.
Dead ball foul. Offsides on the defense.
It'll still be 3rd and goal. They'll go half the distance down just inside the 4.
Quarles kept on coming. The whistle stopped, and Keith says, back off, big guy. And Shelton didn't like the foot in the air. What that penalty does, though, is it enables Tennessee to create more options from the 8. You know they're going to throw. From the 4, they can perhaps run the ball.
And maybe run it twice. Mose Phillips, the lone setback. He'll block. They reverse it and go right side. And there's nothing there for Corey Fleming. Ryan Boykin, the left tackle, stayed home. And the redshirt freshman made a big defensive play.
Good play indeed by Vanderbilt. They tried to run that little fold screen. It worked well earlier in the ball game to Fleming for big yardage. But this time, lots of blitz coming on, and Boykin sliding from his defensive tackle spot was there to knock down Fleming.
Kicking team is on. A 22-yarder from the right hash. And the first quarter has ended. Second quarter will start with John Becksford's 12th attempt of the year. The special team touchdown has Tennessee leading. Second quarter getting underway. John Becksford's field goal attempt will get things started. Becksford 10 of 11 on the year. He has a long of 51 earlier this year. And a chip shot 22 yards from the right hash. Mark Holland, the snapper. And off the hold of Lance Wheaton, no problem there. A 9-play, 60-yard scoring drive. And Tennessee goes up 10-0 on the first play of the second quarter. Let's have a look at our Lee Apparel first quarter statistics. And it shows that Vanderbilt is having some of the same struggles offensively it had last week in the ball game at Florida. Bob Kessling downstairs.
You know, John Becksford learned this week he was named first-team All-American as a kicker. He said he got the news Wednesday night when his girlfriend called him. She saw the news on the news. He didn't believe her and didn't believe it until he got to practice Thursday morning. The coaches said, hey, you're first-team All-American. He was thrilled by that. And it's been an interesting year for John Becksford. He was suspended in the spring because he was caught throwing water balloons out of the dorm room. So they suspended him. He was able to then put things back together. He got back in the good graces of the university and the athletics department and has come on to be an All-American kicker. He's the first here at Tennessee since Ricky Townsend back in 1972-73.
Well, I guarantee you one thing. Those water balloons probably went straight in the middle between 2 streetlights. Probably split the uprights perfectly.
Right, the first guy kicking water balloons out of the windows, right?
So the statistical picture not looking good for Vanderbilt. They'll get the football back here early in the second quarter. Tennessee leads 10-0. Kenny Simon is back deep. Maybe the Commodores need a big play on special teams here.
Considering how bad those stat numbers look, Bob, to be down just 10-0 gives Vanderbilt some hope.
Simon started returning kicks last week for the first time this year. Here he comes to the near side. He will have pretty good yardage out near the 30, and he's down at the 33-yard line. Nick Jester in on the stop. Raymond Austin helping out. And a 27-yard return for the quarterback turned wide receiver / kickoff return man.
Well, this is a good move by the Vanderbilt coaches. I mean, Kenny Simon is an excellent athlete, and when you have a guy like Kenny, you want to get him the ball as many different ways as you can, and why not have him return kicks if it's something you feel he's capable of doing? That was an outstanding return.
Commodores looking to go forward here. Gordon options right. And there's the pitch to Jermaine Johnson, and he is hammered right in front of the Commodore bench. Jason Parker says, "How you doing, guys? This is where we play our home games."
Well, when you run the option, you have to expect contact coming to a running back as a rule by the outside linebacker or one of the safeties. They're the players to give the run support on the option, and Parker filled it very nicely for the Vols.
After a 5-yard gain, Gordon, well, that's a bad pitch. Squirted out of bounds, untouched. It'll be a rather hefty loss of about 9 yards. Jermaine Johnson was in the area, but I mean, there was no way he was going to field this one.
Well, here's a situation where the redshirt freshman just has to eat this football. Either that or the other freshman, Jermaine Johnson, has to be in a better spot to catch it. Well, he gave up on it. I mean, he thought that Ronnie Gordon was just going to take the hit and go down and set up third down. And he slowed up a little bit. Gordon got the pitch off, but no relationship at all between Gordon and Johnson.
Another one of those 3rd and long, 3rd and 14 here. Gordon under pressure, throws the screen. Talley misses a tackle, but that slows the play up enough where his teammates can catch up. They tried to block Ben Talley, but they just couldn't get him clean out of there, and he really messed up the play, and Vanderbilt's timing was ruined.
Tell you what, Mr. Gordon had an awful lot of heat coming on him. He was just able to get this away, and watch Ben Talley, number 90, able to disrupt the play enough, as Bob said, to allow the pursuit to come over where Yudkowsky and company finished it off.
John Summers awaiting another kick of Bill Marinangel. They will fake it and go right side. Now the punter gets the pitch, and it's short. It looked like they were heading for the first down.
Great play by Raymond Austin, who started to tackle the up man,
Jeff Brothers,
and then ended up finishing off Marinangel.
Now there's Brothers, the ex-quarterback, on the carry.
Raymond Austin comes over and made Brothers feel like he was going to hit him, and Brothers gave up the football too soon. Excellent play by the freshman out of Lawton, Oklahoma.
And the Volunteers have it on downs inside the 40. They'll fake the end around, and Schuler goes long. Right side of the end zone, almost intercepted. Knocked down there by Robert Davis. Greg Faulkner, the intended receiver.
Davis, who has 10 interceptions in his career, was right on the hip. When you're in man coverage as a cornerback, watch, they fake the reverse to Billy Williams, and then Schuler looked one way and now wants to go deep to the right corner. But see how Davis sat right on the hip of Faulkner and then backed in like he was blocking him out for a rebound in basketball.
Second down, James Stewart. And he's down close to a first down inside the 30 of Vanderbilt. First carry today for James Littleman Stewart. The big battle in Gainesville is all FSU so far. They led 10-0 at one point at the Swamp, second quarter there. Michigan State and Penn State, a 10-point game in the Big Ten.
Penn State needs to win that game if they are going to be playing this Volunteer team, probably anyway, in the Citrus Bowl.
And for the latest scores of just the games you want, call the Jefferson Pilot score line. Calls are $1 a minute. And get up to date on this rather abbreviated schedule of college football today. Pete Schuler angling across. Faulkner, he's got it! Inside the 10, first down. A juggling act for a great reception. 22 yards in about the last 5 of it while juggling.
Like the great Houdini here. Somehow Faulkner, one hand, tried a couple of times and then put it away. What an effort by the senior out of Richmond, Kentucky in his last game at Neyland Stadium.
You know, and I think number 19, Eric Vance, thought he was going to pick that ball off. Faulkner tipped it away from him. First and goal, Volunteers. Stewart, left side. He is into the end zone. James Stewart, couple of big carries on that possession, and he scores his 7th touchdown of the year on the ground.
Vanderbilt defense, all too familiar for them the last 2 weeks, trying to set up shop and hold the fort in their own end of the field.
And after their 56th TD of the year, the Volunteers tack on the extra point, but a flag flies. By the way, that breaks a Tennessee school record. They had scored 55 touchdowns in both 1951 and 1990. And they've tacked on 2 for the record here today.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense.
Only 4 plays, 39 yards after Vanderbilt failed to convert the fake punt on 4th down. This will make it about a 25-yarder for Bexford. Looking for number 116 consecutive. Right down the middle. And that water balloon makes it 17-0. 12-11 to go before halftime. Volunteers rolling at home as Heath Schuler gives off to James Stewart. Easy touchdown. Bob Carpenter, Jack Corrigan alongside today with Bob Kessling on the sidelines in a 17-0 Tennessee lead. Less than 3 minutes into the second quarter. Bexford, another kickoff. Kenny Simon is back deep for the Commodores. Ball angling toward the pylon and out of bounds inside the 5.
Bexford kick goes out of bounds.
Vandy will get good field position. Now they've got to try and sustain a drive. Boy, after that first sequence in the ball game when they had it into Tennessee territory, Bob, but then turned the ball over. Not to say that Tennessee would not be leading in this game, but I think Vandy's upset hopes would have been greatly helped had they been more effective on that initial drive and come away with some points, or at least back Tennessee up deep in their own territory.
The deepest Tennessee has started has been their own 35-yard line. Knows the football at the 35 for the Commodores. 3 wide receivers. Only 2 men behind the quarterback in the eye. A little play action and a roll to the right. And a quick one to the tight end, Jason Tomachek. He's out to the 41-yard line. That'll be a gain of about 6 on first down. And they need to do some mixing up like that.
Ran a little tight end delay on that play to Tomachek. He set up blocking the linebacker, Scott Gallion. And then when Gallion dropped off into coverage, Tomachek just jumped out the ball. Watch the bottom of your screen. You see Tomachek blocking Gallion there. So Gallion lets him go. And now Tomachek releases, catches a pass, and gets good yardage.
His 6th reception of the year. And there's Reggie Ingram with a quick stop on Jermaine Johnson. Now, throughout the recent years of this series, Vanderbilt has led at halftime the last 6 times. Doesn't look like that's going to happen today unless they get 3 or 4 scores in 11 minutes here.
They desperately need this first down right here. They've got to give their defense a break.
3rd down and 1. Gordon keeping, and he appears to have it. Had to get right to the 45. You might remember after the kickoff out of bounds, the nose of the ball was at the 35, so he's got about a half yard more than he needed.
I like the Tennessee scheme of running Raymond Austin, the strong safety, right up on the line of scrimmage. He forced Gordon to cut back inside, and Kenny was Ronnie, excuse me, just able to lean forward and get the first down yardage.
That strategy has also forced the freshman to make some bad pitching decisions. Ball tipped and almost intercepted. It was tipped by Ben Talley, and then the ball was in the air just for a moment in front of the face of James Wilson.
That's the Vanderbilt reaction to Austin. See him there down close to the line of scrimmage. He steps up, so you throw right over his head, but Talley got his arms up, doing his job pressuring. They wanted to hit Simon on a quick little hitch route, but good job, boy. Now I know why they call Talley a big play player. I mean, he always is around the football.
Second down and 10 for the Commodores. Option right. And there's Talley there to make the tackle.
Watch Ben Talley again. He's reading the action of the quarterback. When he makes the decision to keep it rather than pitch it, steps up and makes a good tackle.
Ronnie Gordon now 7 rushes, 21 yards. And the Commodores have to come up with something on 3rd and 9. They need to get to the Volunteer 44-yard line to keep the football. Deep straight drop. And it's intercepted by Jason Parker. He's taken down at the 47 of Vanderbilt. And it's Parker with his 4th interception of the year, the 8th of his career, and he's only a second-year man.
Tennessee using a little more zone coverage this year against Vanderbilt than they did a season ago, in part because of the inexperience at quarterback for Vanderbilt. See Parker, the top right-hand corner of your screen. He's just the deep safety in coverage, reading the quarterback, stepping back right in front of the receiver. Not a very well thrown ball by Ronnie Gordon. Simon cut behind Parker, and it looked like he was the intended receiver.
Well, Tim Foley has a favorite line. He says, usually when you get an interception, it's because they throw the ball right to you. I think that may have applied. Play action by Schuler. He will go up top and deep, far sideline. And it is caught. It is a touchdown. Joey Kent took it away from Byron King. The interception.
I love the coaching philosophy of going for the home run ball after a turnover. You've got the opposition emotionally down anyway, so let it fly. Byron King had good coverage. He just had no idea where the football was, and Joey Kent, the speedster, broke back nicely to get the touchdown reception.
Expert again. And with 9:30 to go before halftime, Tennessee moves out 24-0. His 25th touchdown pass of the year. And now he's had one in the last 17 games at least.
Run the play action pass on the first play after the interception. Get man coverage on the outside, and the speedster Joey Kent up the sidelines against Byron King makes the grab. How's this for productivity, Bob? He's caught 10 balls on the year for 5 touchdowns. That's not bad. Every other time you make a catch, you're in the end zone. I like that.
Well, Joey Kent, a redshirt freshman out of Huntsville, Alabama.
A couple of touchdowns last week against the Kentucky Wildcats. He's on a roll right now, that young man, and quite obviously he can get it up the field in a hurry too. He ran right by Byron King,
averaging 18 yards a catch until today, and he's jumped up the average. 5 TDs now. Becksford the kick. Kenny Simon back at his own 2. He will angle left side between the hash marks and jukes his way out to the 20, and a flag at the 16.
question was whether it was the illegal block from behind or the clip. Because when the flag throws on any kind of return, safe to say it goes against the return guys.
Just what Vandy needed, worse field position. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited.
Like a lot of young quarterbacks, like Bernie Kosar last week with the Cowboys, with all the plays on his wrist.
Option left. Gordon keeping a late pitch. He's got a man open. There's a flag on the play. And going all the way is Jermaine Johnson.
But it's probably coming back.
A flag lying at the 6-yard line of Vanderbilt. Now that was a great decision by Gordon to get open and then pitch it late. We'll check the flag. Jermaine's previous long run, only 23 yards.
We have an illegal block in the back during the run.
Well, you know what these Tennessee fans are thinking, don't you?
See if we can
Another shutout today is what they're after.
See if we can see what happened. I'll tell you what, try and look at that one more time. It looked like the shove actually came from another Tennessee player. Watch the top part of your screen. Right there, a good call. It was the tight end, Jason Tomachek, trying to cut off the linebacker. Didn't get there in time, and he shoved Scott Gallion right between the numbers on his backside. Unfortunately, it negated a 90-plus yard touchdown run of Jermaine Johnson.
Turnovers and penalties hurting the Commodore offense again. 9:02 before halftime. It'll be a 1st and 14 for the Vols. Excuse me, for the Commodores. Back inside their own 5-yard line, and Ronnie Gordon wants to call the first timeout.
Well, that's the frustration that Vanderbilt has faced all season long with their offense. I mean, they're a group that wants to dominate the clock to keep their defense fresher and thus more effective. And this afternoon, every time it looks like they're going to turn the corner and get something done, as you said, Bob, either a turnover or a penalty negates their positive.
Same thing that happened last week. Bob Kessling, let's check in downstairs.
Well, a bit of history here at Neyland Stadium. This was the first artificial surface in college football back in 1968. Tennessee played here on what was then tartan turf, and they played against Georgia. It was a tie football game. They've got the 68 team back. They are celebrating a 25th anniversary and the last game on this artificial turf. They're going to take it up as soon as this game is over. They're going to cut it up in little squares and pieces and sell it to Tennessee fans across the United States. They're hoping to get enough money off the sale of the turf to pay for the installation of grass next season. But part of history is going by the wayside today as the artificial turf. This was the first one in college football.
Tell you what, that artificial turf and that 68 team had one of my favorite players as a youngster growing up, Richmond Flowers. I became a receiver because I wanted to be like Richmond Flowers.
First down and 14. Willem in motion. In the end zone. Gordon gets rid of it. And it's incomplete. Intended for Eric Lewis. And good tight defense by that true freshman, Raymond Austin. He's having a big day.
And that guy right there, number 98, Corey Stone, a junior out of Memphis, fought off the block and pressures Ronnie Gordon and came oh so close to getting the safety. Good defense downfield, though. You're right. I mean, it's been good coverage by the Tennessee people in the secondary.
You know, it must be quite an honor to be a member of that 68 team. First team in college football history ever to have turf toe. What an honor.
And turf burns on the elbows and knees.
Right. Second down and 14. Gordon to the first man through. That is Eric Lewis, who he tried to throw to a moment ago. A little breathing room for the Commodores, but they're still not out to their own 5. And with third down and 13 coming up, Bill Marinangel, the punter, thinking about what may be a heel close to the end line in a moment.
We showed that graphic before where Tennessee has averaged starting on the Vanderbilt 47 in this game. And unless Vandy can come up with a big third down play here, again, it'll be outstanding field position for the Tennessee offense. You only have to go half the field or less. You're going to score a lot.
Pitch on third down. Johnson coming near side. He's out to the 7. Good play on the corner out there. Leland Taylor backs up Paul Yatkowski at right tackle. Taylor, a redshirt freshman from Louisville.
They have such great quickness in their front 7. The down linemen and the linebackers react and get to the ball so well. I think that's a real credit to a football team that defensively is not that big. Quickness can make up for a smaller team.
Angel from a yard or 2 deep, and he floats one beautifully out to the midfield stripe. Summers cuts right, gets a couple of blocks, loose at the 30. The kicker tries to get him, and Marinangel pops him out of bounds. A 43-yard kick, all but 7 of it back on the return.
He hit the ball well, Marinangel, but he outkicked his coverage. And that happens many times when you punt deep in your own territory. You're in the protect mode to make sure you don't get the punt blocked. Good hit by Marinangel. But see the space that Summers has? Good 5 yards before there was anybody there. And really the rest of the Vandy tacklers were well back.
And how about this for a place to start? Garner on first down. He will score. And he's got some offensive linemen down there with him, too. That touchdown run puts Charlie Garner over 2,000 yards for his career. The 4th Tennessee player to do it. The route is on. 30-0 Vols.
Charlie Garner showing you the lower body strength that he has. Not only the versatility and the cutback strength, but just the flat-out power right there, as he was not going to be kept out of the end zone.
Becksford another one. And it's 31-0 with 7:05 to go in the first half. And you're watching a record-setting run for Charlie Garner's career. Well, you look at what the Volunteers have done their last 3 games. Add that to what they're doing today. A pretty unbelievable advantage they've had in their last 4 ball games. 148-13 coming in, and 31 more tacked on here today. The All-American Becksford to kick it. Be one of the up men, Derek Willem. Near side, no room. He's tackled forward to about the 16. And a little celebration there by Torrey Noel, a freshman out of Memphis.
And a late flag as well thrown in.
They're now at halftime at the Swamp. Good ball game, 6-point spread between the Seminoles and the Gators. At the half as well, a high-scoring game at Michigan State today in the Big Ten, and things aren't looking good for the Nittany Lions.
Another mistake by the Commodores. Another block in the back will put them inside their 10-yard line.
Fulmer wins last year against Southwestern Louisiana, at Georgia, then Florida here. Beat Boston College in the Hall of Fame Bowl. And then he's tacked on an 8-1-1 this year. And Vanderbilt with the ball inside their own 8. Gordon a pitch on the corner. Jermaine Johnson, and he's out to about the 13. Nick Jester, a linebacker. Jason Parker for free safety on the stops.
Back to Coach Fulmer for a moment, Bob. I couldn't help yesterday but catch the look in his eye when we were talking about the season and how it's unfolding. And, you know, in a lot of ways, Tennessee right now is the best team in the Southeastern Conference. I mean, they are really a team that you'd have to consider for national title aspirations, but the early loss to Florida and the tie to Alabama took that away, unfortunately.
And the ball never did get snapped before several blocks were made. Richard Howard, a left tackle, and Robert Couch, the offensive right tackle, dueling.
On the offense.
Couch, of course, the former tight end who's playing there because of the knee injury to Eric Dahlberg.
Well, they get good yardage on first down, a 5-yard gain, and then self-destruct again and put themselves in 2nd and long. And you feel for Jerry DiNardo and his staff because you can make all the preparation in the world, but when you make those unforced errors, they kill you.
2nd down and 10, an opener to Jermaine Johnson. He's got good yardage out to the 19. That'll be enough for a Vanderbilt first down. Left corner, Deron Jenkins on the stop.
I like what I've seen so far of this redshirt freshman out of Carrollton, Georgia. He's got some quicks to him. Good shifty runner. Accelerates. Gets his hips and shoulders squared up to the field as quickly as possible. That maximizes his opportunities against the defense, you know. You can break so much better to either side when you do that.
Vanderbilt, 4th first down of the day. They run the triple I-bone, and there's a pitch that Johnson has to scramble and fall to pick up. I'm not sure I've ever seen a Division I team have as much trouble making pitches on the option as Vanderbilt has the last 2 weeks. Now, the opposing defenses of Florida and Tennessee have something to do with that.
Well, what they've done is they've really attacked the quarterback, and they're doing it with the safeties a lot of times. There you saw number 22 for Tennessee, Jesse Sanders, actually an outside linebacker, come and make a pretty good quick hop and force Gordon to make a pitch before the tailback is ready to receive it.
2nd down now and 19 with 4:40 to go before halftime. Draw play, and not much there for Eric Lewis. John Emery, who backs up Reggie Ingram at that middle linebacker spot, redshirt freshman on the tackle.
And if you're a defensive player and you keep seeing the other team put itself into long yardage situations, I mean, you've got to smile as wide as can be, because you can be so aggressive, figuring that even if you over pursue or overplay a particular action, they have so much yardage to make up, you have time to recover.
Now it's 3rd down and 20. Gordon near his own goal line. While being tackled, he gets it away, and Kenny Simon dropped it. Shane Bonham was all over Ronnie Gordon had the pass been completed. Nowhere near first down yardage.
I give Ronnie Gordon credit for hanging in here. Somehow, in the grasp of Shane Bonham right in the middle of your screen, Gordon was able to keep his knee up long enough to get this ball away, and Kenny Simon was looking for the tacklers before he put the ball away.
This time the Vols put Billy Williams in punt return formation, and a bad shot straight out of bounds by Bill Marinangel. This one will be marked at the 23. 11 yards on the kick.
It's not downhill for Tennessee. It's like the slide at Disney World, Typhoon Lagoon. I mean, you're gaining speed coming down this hill, and it's like Mount Everest for Vanderbilt. Never got a real good grip on the ball and was concerned about the pressure, and that looked like a Carpenter drive off the 4th tee.
You got that right. Shank City. 3:42 to go. Schuler for Garner. Turns the corner. And he'll get out of bounds down around the 18. Charlie Garner has gone over 2,000 today with his effort. Joining Johnny Jones, 81-84. Kurt Watson, 69-71. Great Reggie Cobb, 87-89 as the other Tennessee 2,000-yard rushers. And Philip Fulmer takes a great deal of pride in that. The offensive line is his baby. James Stewart now behind Schuler. David Horn in the slot left. They'll go off right side and a cutback for Stewart. And he's inside to 15. Taken down there by Allen Young.
When you see the spread formation, the one-back offense, yes, it is a passing formation, but with the offensive line that Tennessee has, the strength they have at tailback, and their versatility, they really cut down on the number of people available between the tackles for the defense, and you have a chance with plays like this to get into the secondary in a hurry with your running game.
3rd down and 1. Stewart again. And he appeared to have enough before the Commodores stopped him. Had to get to the 13. Officials appear to be marking it between the 11 and the 12, so the Volunteers will move the chains again. Well, there's the heir apparent, Stewart, a junior out of Morristown, Tennessee. Good average of 6 yards a carry this year. And he's a good pass catcher as well. He's caught passes 12 times.
A lot more size than Garner. Might not have the elusiveness of Charlie Garner, but definitely a power back type at 210 pounds.
On 1st down, Garner back in there. Schuler fakes to him, goes left, and it is tipped away. Byron King with a good play. And guess who the intended receiver was?
That's right, brother.
Little brother,
yeah.
Benji Schuler.
Good play action fake. I think Keith had more time to throw this football. The problem was there just wasn't that much more room because it was a straight fly route, little up pattern for Benji Schuler.
True freshman. Followed his brother's career. He was a 4-sport letterman at Bryson City, Swain County High School. And Garner stopped short of the 11. There's your first half clock. Coming up at halftime, Bob Kessling will have our final halftime features of the year. A look back at the week in the SEC, our SEC Spotlight. And those plays and players of the week. And we'll have some scores and highlights. Scores of other games, highlights from this Tennessee dominance in the first half. On 3rd down and 10, Schuler from the shotgun fights off Shelton Quarles into the end zone, and it's too tall there for Joey Kent.
One of the times that Vandy's been able to get some pressure on Heath Schuler. He's got a lot of strength. He's about 210, 215 pounds, and is able to avoid the pressure of Quarles. And it goes over the top of Joey Kent. Benji Schuler working the backside was open. And I'm not really sure which of the two he was throwing to. Went over everybody.
28-yard attempt now for Bexford. And he's got it. 2 for 2 today. 12 for 13 on the year, plus a gazillion extra points in a row. And the Volunteers tack on 3 more, lead 34-0. Bob Kessling.
It is Bob this season. Last week they pummeled Kentucky and doing pretty much the same today to Vanderbilt.
Good way to put it, Bob. Kickoff return. Tony Jackson across the 30 near side out to the 33-yard line. And Jack Corrigan, as long as football is played only once a week for the most part, and Bobby Bowden knows all about this, it only takes one slip up over a 13 or 14 week period to lose the chance for that national title.
Well, the thing that bothers me, and I'm a very strong proponent of the playoff system, Why does it work for Division III, Division II, and Division I AA, and all of a sudden it can't work for Division 1A? I have a real hard time with that.
I don't think corporate America is involved very much in those slower divisions, and I think they've got a big voice in this whole thing.
I don't think there's any question about that. There's an awful lot of political and financial ramifications, but I agree with Coach Fulmer. I hope somewhere down the line they can work something out to have a national championship decided where it should be, out on the field, not in some poll.
Yeah. That championship game might have the longest list of corporate names you'll ever see anywhere. You might need a whole bunch of letterhead for the name of that game. 2nd down and 4 for the Commodores. Decent field position after the kickoff return. Royce Love, the fullback. And they will be looking at a 3rd and short in the final minute of the first half.
Vandy has 2 timeouts remaining. If they can come up with a first down here, they may choose to use those timeouts down the stretch.
That guy, Gordon, stopped right at the line of scrimmage. John Emery, the man hugging him, and then a lot of orange in the area. And with 30 seconds to go, well, the clock keeps running. Officials had signaled it to stop about 4 seconds ago, and they finally stopped it with 29 seconds remaining. Commodores have the first down, and now Gordon wants a timeout. Wants to go talk to the head coach and see if they have any 57-yard pass plays in that playbook over there.
Well, the thing that this Vanderbilt offense has to do is gain the lead. I mean, it's always been the basic problem of a run-dominant team, whether it's the flex bone or the eye bone or the stack eye or the true wishbone. Those are ball control, get-ahead first offenses that you've got to be as much as possible error-free. When I talked to Don Freese, their offensive coordinator, earlier this week, that's what he talked about, the need for Vanderbilt to be error-free, and they've not been able to do that in this first half, and that's why the offense has struggled.
Bobby Gaston, the SEC Director of Officials, is the subject of our SEC Spotlight. I think you'll find that very interesting, sort of an inside look at how it all works. Videotape, meetings, phone calls, it all figures into putting the best officials on the field. You'll enjoy that at halftime today. First down at the 43 for the Commodores. Let's see what they talked about during the timeout. Gordon to Simon. Sort of an underneath pattern, and right with him was Tennessee's number 45, Nick Jester.
And right with Ronnie Gordon was number 57, Leland Taylor. Watch Taylor unload on Gordon just as he's trying to release the football. Hello. I mean, that's just perfect pressure by a defensive lineman. You put your hat right between the numbers, and Leland hit the spot.
Kentucky Player of the Year 2 years ago. Honorable mention All-American at Fairdale High School in Louisville. Defensive end and a fullback. Well, he must have been fun to tackle. There's a screen up the near sidelines, and getting out of bounds with some help is Eric Lewis. And it'll be another first down for Vandy with 13 seconds to go in the half.
Deepest penetration of the ball game for the Vanderbilt offense so far on the 15-yard completion on the screen pass. Good block ahead. Springs Lewis out for some additional yardage before he is bumped out of bounds. Good effort by Ryan Bell, number 72, to get Eric Lewis around the corner.
42 yards away from the end zone. 13 seconds and a timeout remaining. Gordon to the sideline, and stepping out is Tony Jackson. First reception of the day for Tony, his 7th of the year. Came in number 3 in the SEC with 128 all-purpose yards per game. Tony has been very quiet today. Really hasn't been able to get much going with his quarterback on the option runs. 6 seconds to go. A first down at the 30. They're going to try the field goal from 47 yards on the near hash. Steve Yenner, the junior. And it's way right. May not have been long enough either. Yenner now 8 for 13 on the year. And the first half comes to an end with Tennessee leading Vanderbilt 34-0. It was only 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. A couple of expert field goals, a James Stewart run, a Joey Kent long reception, a Charlie Garner 13-yard run, and Tennessee in full control, up by 34 halfway through, and they look like they're going to go 9-1-1 on the year. And the Commodores will have to kick the football to start the second half. Billy Williams, Charlie Garner, the deep men for the Volunteers, on their way to a 9-1-1 regular season record. And Steve Yenner's kick is a low line drive that finds its way inside the pylon and through the end zone. And after all those first half possessions, this will be only the second time all day Tennessee starts in their own territory.
Well, you could tell by the comments of Philip Fulmer as he went off the field talking about Kessling at the end of the first half, Bob, that he wants his #1 offensive unit out there to go out and have a productive drive, put some points on the board. He was not happy overall with the way his offense played.
Volunteers in the eye, and a quick pitch out to Faulkner. Shelton Quarles closing on him in a hurry with help from the right corner, Robert Davis. Greg Faulkner, a senior, playing his final home game. Charlie Garner as well. Corey Fleming. They've got some great receivers about to depart this football team, but they've got Billy Williams, Joey Kent, Nilo Sylvan, Benji Schuler, a name to remember. No gain on that play on 2nd and 10. And up over the 30-yard line is Charlie Garner, and Gerald Collins to get him from behind, and it looks like they might mark it a little bit short.
We certainly want to praise Charlie Garner for his 1,000-yard season and give a lot of credit to that offensive line for getting him to that lofty plateau. But you also want to credit a guy who you don't think about all the time, the guy playing fullback, whether it's been Mose Phillips or Mario Brunson. They've done a good job leading the way for Garner.
On 3rd down and 1, he has to work hard to get that one, and this time his tight end David Horn was in there blocking for him. And Charlie Garner will move the chains. Coming into today, needed 62 yards to reach 2,000. Well beyond that. And they just announced the Florida State 22-7 lead, second half, over the Gators. Folks here in Knoxville say, too bad that's not a conference game. Charlie Garner out to the right side and tripped up on the corner by Rico Francis.
Good penetration by Rico Francis, the senior out of Louisville. He did a nice job of recognizing the play early. He and number 40 right there, Gerald Collins. Watch 39 and 40. Step one way, and now the reaction by Francis as he fought off the blocker. He makes the tackle without ever actually touching the ball carrier because he knocked down the lead blocker right into Charlie Garner.
Single back set on 2nd down and 9. And a draw play to Mose Phillips. Found himself back there a little deeper than he normally does. Brian Voigtkin tripped him up. But as we look back on our 2 years of covering SEC football, I don't think any of us will ever forget the play Mose Phillips made last year at South Carolina. Had they not been upset by the Gamecocks in that game, probably would have gone down as one of the great touchdown pass receptions in all of Tennessee history. Fourth quarter, broke about 7 tackles, but they couldn't hold on to win. What a shining moment for the man who's now the unsung hero at fullback. Third down and 6. 5 receivers out there, and Schuler misfires up the middle. Now, it's got to be hot pizza pie to stay hot on a day like today. What does the clock downtown say now? 40 degrees.
40 degrees.
Same as at game time.
Tell you what, though, those seats get a little bit colder as the game wears on.
Well,
so
see, the thing,
fortify however you can, Bob, you know.
The thing you want to do is you want to stock up at halftime, because when you get up, the seat is freezing when you sit back down. Tom Hutton with a punt. Left footer, twisting one down to the 32. Jeff Brothers after a yard or two. John Emery on the tackle. 33 on the kick, 1 on the return. 3:10 into the second half. 34 zip. Volunteers.
It's the final home game for Tennessee, but Neyland Stadium will be busy next week. They're going to take up the turf. Associate Athletic Director Mitch Barnard's here. You're going to sell the turf and make a lot of money, you hope, huh?
Well, we hope to have some memorabilia go on the walls of the dens and living rooms around the place. We've got the checkerboard. We're going to put it inside a frame with a little tag on it and have some fun with it.
You're going to sell the UT in the middle of the field and the yard lines and everything.
That's going to be up to a bid, and people can dial in and get 1-800-VOL-TURF, and they can get an opportunity to bid on it or buy pieces of the turf as they are right now, and hopefully put some, hopefully get some money back to try and help build the field.
Talk a little bit about also the situation. You got a 1-800 number. People all over the country have been calling this number already, haven't they?
Oh, it's been amazing. We've only been up and running about a week, and it's just been a lot of fun. We had a lot of calls. We've sold a lot of the pieces already. We've got a lot more turf. There's 88,000 square feet out here, so we got a lot of turf to sell, but hopefully we'll have some things on the walls here fairly soon.
Now, this is just a sample. We want to don't alarm anybody. You haven't cut the turf already, but this is what one of the pieces is going to look like.
We got 4 different pieces. We've got a paperweight, we've got a floor mat, and we've got a regular piece of the green turf, and then this is the checkerboard end zone, which there is limited edition because we just have a limited amount of end zone. It's $99.95, and we can get it framed for you and have a certificate for you for Christmas and in your living room in January.
What's the price scale now? What's the lowest?
$19.95 for the paperweight, $49.95 for the green matted turf, and $69.95 for the floor mat, which is 18 by 32.
And who knows about the middle of the field?
1-800-VOL-TURF. You just dial up, put your bid in.
All right, turf's up here, guys.
Well, I guess that's one way Kessling will see the end zone in this stadium. The former Volunteer. And there's a pitch to Jermaine Johnson. Ball is loose, and the Volunteers have it. Recovering James Wilson. You can get up now, guys.
Well, James Wilson from Hampton, Virginia, in his final game as a Volunteer at Neyland Stadium. The beneficiary of another Vanderbilt boo-boo. Scott Gallion with the helmet hit. Shane Bonham with the wrap as well, and James Wilson with the recovery. So after the interception was negated by the interference call, Vandy still gives it back to Tennessee in actually better field position than after the INT.
Schuler takes a hit and releases low and short to Craig Faulkner. And it was Gerald Collins in the backfield to give Schuler a rough ride. Eric Vance, the man downfield with pass coverage.
Well, Vandy anticipating the play action pass this time sent Gerald Collins on a blitz right up the middle. He was slowed up enough on the play fake to enable Schuler to get the ball away, but not enough to enable Heath to hit the intended target.
Not a huge day for Heath. 9 for 18, 123 yards. Fake the corner and roll right. Commodores getting to him on the corner. He hits Craig Faulkner, and that'll be about a yard and a half short of a first down inside the 40 of Vanderbilt.
Faulkner coming in needed 7 catches today to tie Carl Perkins for number 4 on the all-time list at 110. He has got 4 catches, taking him up to 107. He has passed Anthony Hancock with that catch.
3rd down and 2 for the Vols. Second man, Charlie Garner, got outside. First down inside the 25. Shelton Quarles rode him for a while. Charlie Garner took him right down the field. And the Volunteers will move the chains again.
Well, he's got some quicks, doesn't he? Watch this great move by Charlie Garner on the corner. That ability to hop and step and skip and jump by people, and the strength as well. Shelton Quarles had him by the collar, but Charlie was not going to go down easily.
Well, he didn't last week either against Kentucky. You mentioned his stats, Jack. He averaged 9.8 yards a carry in that 48-0 shutout at Lexington. Here he goes again, up the middle. Inside the 15, near the 10. And another first down. All the safeties are getting the tackles when this guy carries. Aaron Smith that time.
Well, you can talk about 1,000-yard rushes, and certainly that is an outstanding achievement. But what equals that for Garner, and maybe even more impressive from a pure football sense, the fact that on the year he is well over 7 yards a carry. You see today over 8 yards a carry. When you're doing that, I mean, you're a real terror to the opposition. And the guy's going to gain nearly first down yardage every time he touches the football.
Calls number 30 again, does Schuler. Looked like he was stopped at the 7. All of a sudden you look up and there's a pile of guys down at the 4. And it'll be 2nd and goal.
Move the pile. That's what you love to hear out of an announcer talking about a running back. Trying to cover up some of Charlie's pads. The newest thing for running backs, that little extension to the shoulder pads to protect the kidney area. That's a good development in equipment.
Schuler to Mose Phillips. His offensive lineman trying to scrum him right into the end zone. Looks like he's down to about the 1-yard line somehow. Byron DeGrothen-Reed on the stop. Mose Phillips, Jr. out of Hillsborough High School. He's a Nashville kid who came up to Knoxville to play for the Vols.
Well, when you look at him, too, Bob Kessling and I were watching practice yesterday at the facility, and he says, he is the most unlikely looking in terms of the physical makeup of Mose Phillips, the most unlikely looking starting running back in Division I football, but he gets the job done. Not every guy has to look like a Greek god to be an effective football player, and Mose Phillips says, hey, as long as I get it done, I'm not worried how I look when it comes to the picture taking. He says, I just want to be productive.
Very close to a first down. And we use the plural on that graphic. Inches might mean 2. If that much. Third down. Wilson Garner behind Schuler. Phillips got the call. Touchdown, Tennessee. He broke the plane and then broke away from everybody. And that, for Mose Phillips, is his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. Nice to see the wealth getting spread around a little bit.
Well, and for Mose, this touchdown serves 2 purposes. It adds to his total, and when he goes home over the break between the end of the season and the start of preparations for a bowl game, he can go back to Nashville and see all his buddies and the ones that go to Vanderbilt and say, I had no problems. Bragging rights mean everything.
It looks like the officials are talking to both teams down there. On the heels of maybe a little over-celebrating, maybe a little taunting. These teams don't like each other a whole lot. Let's check in with Dick Burleson. He'll be updating us momentarily, evidently.
They're asking, it took place afterwards, so the penalty can be assessed either on the extra point or the kickoff.
Have a dead ball, personal foul against the offense.
They'll assess it on the kickoff. I'm sure it would give Vanderbilt much better field position on their next possession.
Before the game, the coaches, other team personnel, non-playing personnel, lined up in midfield on sort of a diagonal and kept the Tennessee team away from the Vanderbilt team as they were leaving the field. Expert with another extra point attempt. And another perfect one. 41-0 Volunteers with 8:23 to go in the third quarter. We're back after this from your local SEC station. Volunteers will kick off back at their own 20 after the personal foul. We'll see what the Commodores can come up with in terms of field position here. 8:23 to go third quarter. Tennessee 41-0. Tony Jackson, the deep man, and he's back at his own 15. Expert with a low line drive on the fly. Gabe Banks on the return, and to the near side he is cracked out of bounds at the Vandy 45. Bob Kessling downstairs.
You know, Mose Phillips just scored the touchdown. Mose, of course, he says his pride and joy is his car, which is a 1968 Dodge Corvette. You can see it right in front of the football complex. And I asked him one time, Mose, what's the name of the car? And he says the name is Hanidza. And I said, Hanidza, what does that mean? He said it needs an oil change, it needs the air conditioning worked on, it needs the windows rolled down. But you can see Mose tooling around in his car. It's his pride and joy, and I guess he's very proud of his touchdown as well just a minute ago.
Well, he needed a touchdown until a few moments ago. Ronnie Gordon will go left, and he's got his man straight ahead, Derek Willem, and that's down to the Tennessee 35-yard line. Jack, what you talked about earlier today, mixing things up, doing some throwing on first down.
Well, and what Vanderbilt wants to do right now, obviously try and restore some pride by getting some points on the board after being shut out last week. They don't want to get blanked 2 weeks in a row. Plus, it's the learning experience for a redshirt freshman, Ronnie Gordon, who they hope is going to improve as his career at Vandy continues.
Stack eye pitch to the deep man, Cliff Dees, and he's to the 35 maybe. Reggie Ingram on the stop in the middle.
I've been very impressed with the preparation the Tennessee defensive coaches made in terms of handling the Vanderbilt option game, with the exception of the touchdown run by Johnson that got called back because of an illegal block. There has rarely been any running room at all for the Vanderbilt tailbacks out of the option.
That's why Tony Jackson has had such a quiet day. Whoops. Brian Josie, the sophomore, playing over in the right tackle spot. Obviously early. A family blanket here at Neyland Stadium today. It is a day for hoods and slickers and quilts and gloves. And Tennessee tries to make it 10 in a row. And also a possible record-setting win today. You know, there's some controversy. Vandy and UT do not agree on the series record. Second down and 14. Gordon gives off to Dees. He did a nice spin to get away from one man, but the problem was he was set up for Scott Gallion to put him away. Tennessee says it leads the series 55-26 and 5 ties. Vanderbilt says it's 55-27 and 5 ties. I think there was a question of an eligible player decades ago, and to the school's mutual satisfaction, the issue has never been resolved. Third down and 12. Gordon escapes one flurry on the run, hitting his man, and that will be ruled out of bounds. Derek Willem. Vanderbilt claiming the defender sent the receiver out.
Jason Parker with the hit on Derek Willem. Pretty good effort here by Ronnie Gordon to avoid the pressure, step up and buy some time. Willem makes the catch, and that should have been a catch, I think, because It looked to me like he would have stayed in bounds if not for the contact from Jason Parker.
Excellent throw on the run. Over one defender in front of the other. 4th down and 12 for Vanderbilt. Gordon with time, and it is caught by Kenny Simon, but he's short. Down to the 30. They had to reach the 25. Ventali on the tackle, and the ball will change hands with 6:08 to go in the 3rd quarter. We'll take a timeout from Knoxville. It's all Tennessee, 41-zip, second half. Welcome back to Knoxville. Cheerleaders, pom-pom squads, wrapped up tightly and warmly today. First down for the Volunteers of Tennessee. Working with a new quarterback, the junior Jerry Colquitt. But the same tailback, Charlie Garner. He will go across midfield, and he's down inside the Vandy 40. That makes a big day a large day.
Came in number 20 in the country in rushing and number 3 in the Southeastern Conference. And Charlie had a huge hole up over the left side, and you give that much space to a great running back, he's going to do the job you'd expect. 33 yards in all.
Colquitt, an Oak Ridge boy, all-stater, a junior. He's had pretty good success. He's completed 16 of 22 passes this year. Gives it off to James Littleman Stewart. Byron DeGraffenried pulling him down from behind. Colquitt has completed 73% of his passes. He's thrown for 4 touchdowns. You couple that with what Heath Schuler has done, and they're up in that Florida territory in terms of 2 quarterbacks with a good number of touchdown passes.
That's why they set a school record for touchdowns in a season.
Second down and 3 with the clock under 5 minutes, 3rd quarter. Colquitt rolling, nobody open. He'll run for the first down and slide to the 24. 27-14 Seminoles. It's now the 4th quarter. They've had some rain in Gainesville. And Penn State scoring recently, but they still trail by 13, 4th quarter at East Lansing. For the latest scores of just the games you want, call our Jefferson Pilot score line 1-900-267-5757. Calls are $1 a minute, and you youngsters get your parents' permission. First down, Colquitt out to Faulkner on the run. He caught it. He's down to the 14. Pretty nice throw.
Love catching that receiver in stride. Right now, 2 catches away from Carl Pickens. Blocker out in front of him, Billy Williams. Another first down for Tennessee.
And the officials stop the clock while they correct the spot. Ball is at the 14-yard line. Volunteers back to work. 4:10, 3rd quarter. Colquitt, similar pass, other side. Craig Faulkner, first down. Excuse me, they already had the first down, but he gets a couple of yards beyond that marker, and he's down to the 11. And he'll get the record if they keep throwing little patterns like that.
Well, you got to credit Philip Fulmer and his staff for having an awareness. I mean, here's a young man, and it's been documented a lot this season. Wasn't going to play because of the wrist injury after the motorcycle accident, but worked himself back to health and has had a very fine senior year. You want to reward a young man for perseverance, a lot of hard work.
1 second and 7. Stewart escapes, and it's a touchdown. James Manley had him. James Manley lost him. James Stewart scored.
first down run for James Stewart. And you're right, Manley and Young and company kind of knocked each other off of James Stewart. And he said thank you and put it in the end zone.
Oh yeah, Bexford with another one. And it's 48-0 Tennessee with 3:49 to go in the third quarter. James Littleman Stewart scoring for the second time today and his 8th touchdown of the year. You know, this season we've honored one student athlete from each of the 12 SECs on this Vanderbilt team. You have to be an outstanding student just to walk onto the campus and to put a football uniform on. Lee Jackson on the return. And he's out to the 22, maybe the 22.5.
Vanderbilt player shaken up on the play. Derek Willem back there along with Jackson, trying to help spring his teammate, and paid the price.
Well, Jack, I think a lot of people would agree with what you said earlier, that Tennessee may be the best football team right now in the SEC. Alabama struggling a bit, and Jay Barker is hurt. Florida on the short end of a Florida State lead today and having to come from behind to win the last couple of weeks. But this Tennessee team totally dominant over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
But and again, you could, as I said earlier, you could just sense with Philip Fulmer yesterday at their workout that, you know, he said, hey, it was our fault. We didn't beat Alabama. We didn't beat Florida.
And they should have beaten Alabama.
And it's frustrating, but that's the way it goes. And you wish you had another chance, but you don't.
Fortunately, Derek Willem looks okay. Let's check in downstairs again with Bob.
Yesterday was an emotional day on the University of Tennessee campus. Before last season, Tim Karen, the longtime trainer, died suddenly and tragically right before the season. It jarred the entire football team. Tim was the trainer for 15 years and one of the most respected and loved people on the University of Tennessee campus. Well, yesterday they had a special ceremony and they dedicated the training room to the memory of Tim Karen, a Hall of Fame trainer and one of the nicest guys in college athletics.
Well said, Bob, and well honored here at the University of Tennessee. He was on a lot of folks' minds during that 1992 season. A season that produced a 9-3 record and a Hall of Fame Bowl victory over Boston College. Jason Tomachek of Vandy on that last reception. Clock runs with 3:12 to go, third quarter. Six yards on that play, 2nd and 4. Jackson just beyond the marker before he was cracked out of bounds by Torrey Noel. There's the king. He'll put on it. He'll put on anything to escape detection. He'll be heading for the local burger place right after the game and be spotted there as well, I'm sure. I don't think they buy it, though. You know, some mascots will do anything to get on camera. And incomplete on the far sideline. Tony Jackson, the intended receiver of Ronnie Gordon. Well, they were feeling pretty good at Vandy about 3 weeks ago. Ronnie's first start was 284 yards of total offense and a win over Kentucky. Then they hammered Navy. But pretty tough to end your season at Gainesville and Knoxville.
And with the turnovers they've had, that's really denied you a chance to know what to expect out of this offense.
And a pitch to Cliff Dees. Taken down by Shane Begnaud. True freshman out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Raymond Austin may have been across the line of scrimmage. He was really anticipating on a safety blitz, and he simply came through and went off sides. Took a little shot at the quarterback.
I think Vanderbilt will wait and see if it's a first down. They probably won't. They'll just take it anyway because it'll make it 3rd and short.
First down, Vandy, as they decline.
Didn't know whether Dees had got to the first down marker, and he had, so they
course,
well, I was right the first time. It wasn't a first down.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Bob, that it is just a little bit shy.
winner of the championship game goes to New Orleans. Citrus has its choice of the runner-up or the highest-ranked team, and that's why some feel that with a big win here today, Tennessee could go to the Citrus, and then the other team, Florida, Bama, whoever loses the championship game could end up in the Gator. That's where Florida played last year. After losing to Alabama in Birmingham, there are 2 other bowl spots up for grabs for the SEC. LSU plays later today, trying to beat Arkansas and slide in to that CarQuest Bowl. Kentucky is 6-5, and
most people think that they will get the Peach Bowl bid, probably against Clemson.
Interesting matchup. SEC, ACC. SEC, of course, was outstanding in bowl games last year, unbeaten. On first down, overthrown Kenny Simon, the intended receiver, and that ever-active Deron Jenkins down there. Good quarterback pressure from the right tackle, Paul Yatkowski, number 99, wrapping up his career here today.
Waiting to find out whether he's going to be playing in his native Canada in the CFL, or I think he wants to try and give the NFL a shot. That will be determined by how he fares in the postseason evaluations.
Well, he's a disruptor. Fumbles caused, sacks, blocked PATs, 3 block kicks, 3 fumbles caused, 2 recovered. There's Gordon with a little inside look to Tony Jackson. He's got big yardage up the far sideline, and at the 29-yard line, caught from behind. Shane Beckno, the man who wrestled him down after a gain of 26.
Tennessee loaded up the line of scrimmage, and they came with both outside backers blitzing, and they ran the little shovel pass underneath. And Tony Jackson found a corridor and ran it deep into Tennessee territory before Shane Beckno knocked him down.
1:35 to go, third quarter. Tennessee fans making some noise.
They want to shut out.
And Ronnie Gordon will call a timeout. Tennessee got the shutout at Kentucky last week, while Vanderbilt was being shut out at Florida.
Well, Ronnie Gordon making the smart decision there, and that you don't need to save timeouts in a ball game that you're losing 48-0. Your efforts here are to put points on the board, and so if you were confused with your offensive setup and the huddle clock's running down, why put yourself into a 1st and 15? So he gets to go over and talk to the coaching staff on the sidelines and decide what they want to do on this 1st and 10 play.
Well, sort of cruising home to their 9th win of the season are the Volunteers here today. Earlier we mentioned that John Bexford was an All-American kicker. Some of the other honors rolling around. Eric Zier has broken a couple of Shane Matthews Florida records and SEC records. Big day against Tech on Thanksgiving. And Jay Barker, the bad news, injured against Auburn, will not play in the SEC championship game. Brian Bergdorf, and maybe some quarterbacking from David Palmer. And some SEC honors on the All-American side as well. I think Antonio Langham might be the best defensive player in the country. Great penetration there by Tennessee. James Wilson, the first man there. Shane Bonham finished off the play, 72 and 92, respectively.
See a few of those starting defensive linemen still in the ball game for Tennessee, because it's important. They do want to toss the shutout.
That'd be a great way to go out. They're all seniors up front. Wilson, Bonham, Yatkowski, and Morris. And that's a defensive line that lost 3 starters from last year, including All-SEC Todd Kelly. Looks like a screen. They set it up nicely. And down inside the 25-yard line goes Eric Lewis, the wingback.
Nick Jester was almost able to step around the blocker and stop Eric Lewis right as he caught the ball, but Lewis was able to evade Mr. Jester and take it down into a third and medium situation.
35 seconds to go, third quarter. 48-0 Tennessee. How about that? First time they've been over 100 yards this year. He had 96, or at least Vandy did, against Georgia early. Kenny Simon was still the quarterback.
He's getting that first down on a rare option that got around the corner for the Commodores. Keeps the drive alive in the final half minute of the third quarter.
Seconds to go. First and 10 at the 18 of the Vols. Eric Willem in motion. Cliff Dees angles off right tackle, and he's down to the 13 where John Emery stopped him. And that could be the final play of the third quarter. Looks like we'll head for the other end and play the final 15 minutes. After 3 in Knoxville, the Volunteers of Tennessee cruising home with a 48-0 lead. The Lee Apparel game summary after 3 quarters. Tennessee well on its way to its average of over 400 yards total offense per game, 476, what they normally rack up. Vanderbilt's top 2 rushers today. Jackson 10 yards, Dees with 3. 48-0. Fourth quarter, first play. Second down and 5 at the 13 of the box. Commodores stack the eye, and Ronnie Gordon has a first down. He's inside the 5. Florida State, by the way, has just come up with an 80-yard touchdown play to lead 33-21 after Florida had closed it to 27-21.
Well, one of the few times that Tennessee's defense did not get there in time to stop the quarterback. George Kidd, the linebacker, a little late getting there, and Ronnie Gordon cut it upfield and got it in to the 5-yard line, where Vandy will have 4 downs to try and end a shutout string that is over 7 quarters long.
12th play of this ball control drive. Option left. Gordon keeps, and he is into the end zone. Ronnie Gordon with his 4th rushing touchdown of the year, and Vanderbilt finally scores 34 seconds into the fourth quarter.
Now that helps soothe the frustration a little bit. Good recognition again by Ronnie Gordon, and the lunge to get it into the end zone. He stopped Raymond Austin and cut inside of him.
Steve Yenner for the extra point off the hold of Jeff Brothers. The snapper for Richard Sines. And it's 48-7 Volunteers. Ronnie Gordon option left. His option was keep it and head for the end zone. And here in Knoxville with 14:26 to go, Vanderbilt is on the scoreboard. And it's 48-7. Bob Carpenter, Jack Corrigan, and Bob Kessling. Our SEC finale for 93. Billy Williams and Nilo Silvenbach to return the kick. It's kind of like, oh yeah, who are the kickoff return guys for the Volunteers? And that one squirts into the end zone. And the Vols will start at their own 20. Things are getting interesting. Florida had just made it 27-21. Florida State got an 80-yard touchdown play. They've just intercepted, and the Gators are in trouble. But the Nittany Lions, can you believe this?
They were down 3 touchdowns in that ball game, and they've scored 3 times in the 4th quarter as they try and get to the Citrus Bowl.
And the Bulldogs looking for revenge over the Rebels, who stopped them in Oxford last year. They play this year in Starkville. Big Ten looks like the WAC today. And there's our number for the latest scores on our Jefferson Pilot score line. Final time this year. We appreciate all of you who have participated with us and the great response you've given our score line all season long. Tennessee has just allowed its first touchdown in 7 quarters and only the second since the Alabama game. Rose Phillips, the ball carrier, off the left side.
There you go. Isn't that a great sign? I think half of it got blown away because after stay it said please with an exclamation point. I mean, they want to have Heath return for another season. And I'll tell you what a great publicity campaign by Bud Ford and Haywood Harris. You have to be 21 to win the Heisman for number 21 Heath Schuler. I love that. That was very clever.
A couple of guys have been at it for a long time around here, and Shelton Quarles goes right after the quarterback and gets the sack on Jerry Colquitt. That'll be his 3rd sack of the year. Sheldon had such a great game in Gainesville last week. Had 11 tackles at Florida. Couple of interceptions, and this is senior season. Just hasn't been able to get that 7th fumble recovery, though, to own outright the all-time Vanderbilt record. Looks like he may settle for a tie with 6.
I'll tell you what, 4 years as a starter, that's a tremendous achievement in a major college football program.
Down 19. Rose Phillips not very far on that draw play. James Manley was riding him down.
Here's Heath Schuler on the sidelines. And, of course, one of the things of interest regarding what Heath Schuler may do in terms of coming back for a senior year, keep in mind that he is a native of North Carolina, and in the '95 season, there will be the Carolina Panthers. And there may be the opportunity for Heath to play in North Carolina. That might be incentive enough to stay at Tennessee another year.
By the way, number 81 there was Benji, standing right by his older brother. Colquitt has it picked off. This one intercepted, and it is Daryl Finklin who picks it up. A true freshman. They had 6 defensive backs out there. And the first-year man from Lakewood, New Jersey, has his first career INT.
He's got outstanding speed. They think he is going to be a great one before his Vanderbilt career is over. Colquitt throwing late down the middle. Stepped right in front of the intended receiver, Nilo Sylvan, and makes that first interception. So even though the final score in his first Vandy Tennessee game might not be great, Daryl's going to have a pretty good memory.
At the 33, the Commodores have the football back. 11:45 to go in the game. Johnny Gordon on an end around to Kenny Simon. He's got some blockers. And a pretty good play to stop him by John Emery. It looked like Gordon outraced some of the convoy he had out there on the side. Ryan Josie, left tackle, was out there, but a nicely conceived play by Vandy.
And lots of blockers in front, like you said, Bob, and Emery indeed made the effort to get to Kenny Simon. You see what he did in his first 5 games as a quarterback and what he's done as a receiver since then.
Yeah, 1 more completion than interception. First down at the 14. And it is Cliff Key scoring on the right side. And that'll be his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. And the Commodores have scored twice in the span of 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Good block by the wingback Eric Lewis as he just wiped out the corner. Watch the left side of your screen. Watch number 22 leading the way, Deron Jenkins. See ya. Clear path for Cliff Deese and a touchdown for the Commodores.
He's out of Westfield High School in Houston. Steve Yenner for the point after. And it's a 48-14 game. A lot of time to go. 11-12 in the fourth quarter. A two-play 33-yard drive. And Deeds took it home. 1-7. Steve Yenner will kick it away. Taken at the 7 by Billy Williams. He's got some breakaway speed. He is through the middle, spun around, and down at the 47. This guy is dangerous every time he touches the ball. A 41-yard return. Dario Finklin ended it with the tackle.
Well, it's been documented before. The area kid with the opportunity to come back after some work in junior college, and he is definitely exciting to watch. He has that acceleration you just can't coach.
Has been timed in the 40 at 4.3. Played some JUCO ball at Northeast Oklahoma and won a national championship there last year. That program has sent a lot of players to the SEC. And over to the left side. That one is close to a first down for Nilo Sylvan. His 9th reception of the year. Nilo is a sophomore from Covington, Louisiana, a UT track star. He's a blazer too. You put him on one side and Billy Williams on the other side next year. You got one guy running a 4.340 and another who runs a 10.700 meters.
That was last year. Probably running faster this year.
You better have some quick DBs to cover these guys. First down at the 43 of Vanderbilt. Olquist handing it off to James Stewart, and he'll get about 7 or 8 on first down. Well, they're in the final 16 seconds in Gainesville. Looks like the Seminoles are in line to head for the Orange Bowl and take on Nebraska.
Be some people in West Virginia not real happy though, because the Mountaineers feel like they're unbeaten and should get the shot.
Strength of schedule means a lot in these situations. That's why a lot of people haven't been too crazy about the Huskers. Second down and 2. Stewart, right tackle. He's got a first down. Down to the 21-yard line.
You know, we talked before, Bob, about whether or not he sure wants to stay or turn pro after this season. When you look at this Tennessee offense in terms of the people coming back, that entire offensive line will be back. This guy carrying the football, James Stewart, is going to be back in the tailback spot next year. Mose Phillips, the fullback, will return. The young, speedy wide receivers we talked about. Certainly incentive for Pete Schuler to come back and maybe be part of a team in the run for the national championship as well as the Heisman.
Boy, whoever quarterbacks this team is going to have a lot of weapons. Here's Stewart. Great big tackles down to the 7. John DeWitt, the left end, kept trailing him and finally made the stop after 14 yards.
That package you love to have at tailback, size and speed. The quickness to get into the hole, the size to just take Aaron Smith and bang right off of him and get about 6 or 7 more.
Florida State goes 11-1. Florida falls to 9-2 with that result at Gainesville today. Olquist for Stewart, cuts up, and he scores! His 3rd of the day. And Tennessee is into the 50s with 9:07 to go.
For these Volunteer fans who have sat out in the damp and cold for the better part of 4 hours, they want as many points as they can get. I like this kid. He's going to be a very fine football player in his final year here. He's a good football player already, and not to take anything away from Charlie Garner and the things he's done this year, but the balls aren't going to skip a beat at tailback.
55-14. 96 yards in 11 plays for Stewart. 9:07 to go, and Tennessee has put the ball into the end zone again. James Stewart has put the ball into the end zone for the third time today. And it's 55-14. Tony Jackson, the deep man, for another John Bexford kickoff. At about the 3. Jackson will angle near side and try to get outside, and does. And he'll have some pretty good yardage out to around the 30. The man that had him was Nilo Sylvan. And Bexford, the kicker, finished off the tackle. Let's check in downstairs. Here's Bob.
You know, there are two actual head coaches on the Vanderbilt sideline. One, Jerry DiNardo, the head football coach, and Jim Foster, who is the head women's basketball coach. He's the guy who walks behind DiNardo carrying his cable. And, of course, Foster is the coach of the Vanderbilt women's team that last year made it to the Final Four, and most people think has a good chance this year. Foster will bring his team to Knoxville later on this season to face the top-ranked Tennessee Lady Vols at the Thompson Bowling Green. In fact, they'll play Tennessee twice this coming year.
Boy, those would be some great games, won't they? So a little site survey here by the basketball coach, Heidi Gillingham, of course. Great player for Vandy. The SEC has turned into a great women's basketball league along with the men. Tennessee won here last night over Tennessee Martin. He's picked up a few ideas about operating under pressure by following Jerry DiNardo about 5 miles or so every Saturday up and down the sideline. Second down play. And a pretty good opener out over the 35. Eric Lewis on the carry. Tennessee is over 50 for the 4th time this year. They did to Louisiana Tech, Duke, South Carolina, and now Vandy. Better than 42 points a game, a new school record. And they had to go a ways back to find such a productive team.
Yeah, really.
That's 79 years ago. 3rd down and 4. Gordon wobbles one ahead. Tomacek dropped it. It's ruled incomplete.
Dory Noel was hoping to add to that scoring total had it been a fumble. Tomacek, who has made a couple of receptions today, the true freshman out of Nashville, couldn't hang on to that one, and it would have been very close to a first down had he been able to secure it.
8 minutes to go. Bill Marinangel will kick again. Billy Williams inside his own 30. And he'll take the fair catch. Knee down near the 34. 31 yards on the kick.
Billy Williams taking the punts as well now, because Sean Summers, who got the scoring going way back when with a punt return, twisted an ankle and is not playing the rest of the way.
And the 3rd string quarterback gets a shot here. Tennessee baseball player, 6'1" sophomore Todd Helton. He's out of Central High School right here in Knoxville. And he'll give it off there to Eric Lane. He's a redshirt freshman who backs up Mose Phillips and Mario Brunson at fullback.
Eric Lane, the one back in the setup here, and play is designed to be a cutback play like this. Pretty good effort by the Vanderbilt defense to recover and limit Lane to a couple of yards.
2nd down and 8. End around. That's given to Nilo Sylvan, who breaks a tackle. And he gets loose. He's across midfield to the near side. And a chance to break it. He will score!
Wow.
A 64-yard touchdown play. It looked like Gerald Collins had him at the line of scrimmage.
I had him in the backfield even for a loss of a couple of yards, Bob, but Once he got into the open with that sprinter speed, the end around, and there's Collins who had the shot. Sylvan knocked him away, and now watch the maneuverability, picking his way through traffic and then accelerating. Got some good blocks downfield. Joey Kent with a block there. Picked up another block late downfield from Kendrick Jones and scores the touchdown.
62-14 with 6:56 to go. Nilo Sylvan showing us some of that track speed.
Well, he did a great job of making a good tackler, Gerald Collins, miss. And now once you get a guy with this kind of elusiveness and speed into the open field, watch out. Good effort there by Joey Kent, and now Sylvan breaks through another tackle and just outruns everybody else. Thrill for that young man, the sophomore out of Covington, Louisiana.
And on the heels of that replay, I want to say thanks and congratulations for some just brilliant camera work and replay work here today by our Jefferson Pilot Sports production crew. They've been outstanding for 2 years, and we have seen some gorgeous replays. That's certainly one of those today on a pretty nice looking run as well.
They do the 62 push-ups for all the points after that. Well, let's wave the flag instead.
62-14.
Cheerleaders ending up looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger after a game like this.
Either that or carried off.
Or Hans and Franz, let's pump you up, right?
Well, they've got the scoring pumped up. 62. Expert's kick. Tony Jackson just inside his goal line. Take it over the 20. Cut inside, and he's out to the 35-yard line with a nice return. Shane Begnaud on the stop. And the Commodores go to work offensively with 6:45 remaining. E. Schuler loves it when the other guys get some glory offensively. Jerry Colquitt sharing in the fun. He says, all right, little brother.
I'll tell you what, he is such a great leader. I mean, you talk about quarterbacks handling that role on and off the field, but I mean, when you talk to Tennessee people or read about some of the things, he's almost too good to be true.
Ronnie Gordon calls a timeout with 6:45 to go. Vanderbilt using its second. We'll take one right with Gordon and DiNardo and return to Knoxville in a moment. 6:45 remains in our season of SEC football. Tennessee 62-14 over Vanderbilt. Volunteers will win their 11th straight over their intrastate rivals. Ronnie Gordon with Garrett Grillam in motion. And he is sacked. That collapsed on him in a hurry. Quincy Prickmore, one of the first guys in there. Steve White from right in. And you'll see more of Steve White in the seasons to come. A lot of seniors graduating. Wilson, Bonham, Yatkowski, Morris. There's White out of Westwood High School in Memphis. He plays next to Leland Taylor, who's made some fine plays here today. Loss of 7, 2nd and 17. Gordon hit as he threw. Incomplete. Leland Taylor.
He heard you talking about him. Said, I better make another play there. Not giving me enough credit.
He's made a few. Bob Kessling, what's happening downstairs?
Well, you know, you talk about Heath Schuler a moment ago. Heath went over the mountain for Thanksgiving back to Bryson City. I said, you got to have a big Thanksgiving day? He said, yeah, we're going to have bear and wild boar. I said, what about turkey? He said, well, on Thanksgiving, we're not much for domestic animals in the Schuler household.
Oh, man. And then he sunk a couple of Commodores today. Ronnie Gordon back on 3rd down. He felt a touch, escaped it, and then throws incomplete. He was looking for Sanford Ware. First time they've gone for Sanford, a former starter today. Good pressure by the Volunteers.
Now that young defensive line, the guys you're just talking about, White and Taylor and Stone and Burton, they're all sophomores and freshmen for the most part. So
this team is loaded. And Bill Marinangel will load up again. He's been a busy man the last 2 Saturdays. End over end. He gets a sideways hop. And the Commodores will down it at the Tennessee 37 with 5:38 to go. 35 yards on the kick.
well, one thing about this final score here and really the final stretch of the season, we were talking about where Tennessee may go for a bowl game and who their opponent might be. I'll tell you what, there's probably a little more than a few teams out there who might think twice about drawing the spot against Tennessee.
They've only scored 210 points in their last 4 games. There's an escape. Jay Graham outside and over midfield. Graham's a true freshman out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. A 3rd-string tailback. And he just had his longest run of the year, 18 yards. He's another one of those speed guys, a 4.4 40 man and 6.39 in the 60 meters.
Most points in over 30 years for the Tennessee offense today.
Todd Helton giving it to the same man, Graham. Volunteers keeping it on the ground. And the clock approaching 5 minutes to go.
The only problem in a game like this for the kids out there now, they're thrilled to have a chance to play and get some game experience at the major college level. But when you're a wide receiver at the end of a game like this, you're a wide tackle because you're not going to get any work on catching the ball. You just work on your downfield stalk blocking.
2nd down and 9. Todd Helton, left-hander, across the middle. And he's got the completion. That's number 81, Benji Schuler. That's his 9th reception of the year. The freshman out of Bryson City. Over the mountain, as Kessling said. I guess the bear and boar must have settled pretty well.
Well, David Cutcliffe says, I got to give these kids at least a couple 3 throws out there. And so Mr. Helton makes the completion to the junior member of the Schuler firm.
Graham cuts it back on 1st down, and he's close to another one. Jeff Brothers back there in the secondary with the tackle. Shelton Quarles in on it as well, and it looks like Shelton Quarles is racking himself up another double-digit tackle day.
Tell you what, there have been more than a few 1st downs put up in the stat book by this Tennessee offense as well.
3:45 on the clock. Helton for Graham. Everybody in the Tennessee sideline hollers, stay in bounds. Byron DeGraffenried on the stop. One of those twins out of Dunwoody, Georgia. Allen is the other. There's Byron. 6'6", 257. His brother's a bit smaller, 6'5", 253. Both of these guys played only 1 year of high school football. A-dog and B-dog, they call it. Down to 3 minutes, 2nd down and 11. And Graham taken down again by DeGraffenried.
An interesting off-season for the Vanderbilt Commodores. They have some holes to fill and want to continue their development. Just a little disappointed that the offense didn't come together as well as they thought it might here in '93.
2.5 minutes to go. 3rd down and 8. And flags fly. Bob Kessling.
Bob, there are policemen out lining the field. Usually there's security here on the field, but today is a little bit special. They're going to make sure nobody jumps on this field with an X-Acto knife or any kind of knife to cut off the turf, because remember, as soon as the game is over, they're going to secure the stadium and then start ripping up the turf, and then they'll put it on sale for Tennessee fans, a little souvenir of the last artificial turf in Neyland Stadium history.
I thought all of those guys were down there to protect Bob Kessling from these rabid Knoxville fans. He is so huge here among those folks. Third down at 13. Graham the carry down to the 20. And Shelton Quarles with another tackle. Jeff Brothers help rip up the ball carrier. And it'll be 4th down, under 2 minutes to go.
Belton looks over to the sidelines and is going to get the play. They're not going to line up and try a field goal. They will go for it on 4th down. With all the fans you see in the stands here, Bob, they could be doing anything out there because it's Tennessee. They're going to watch it.
That's right. Elton with a drop. He will throw the screen, and Graham dropped it. And he had first down in the room in front of him as Vanderbilt was coming on the blitz, and the ball will turn over with 1:24 to go. Tennessee. Well, we look back on this '93 season. It started out in the sizzling heat of Labor Day weekend with a South Carolina upset at Georgia. We've seen some wild ones this year. Cedric Douglas, by the way, is in to play quarterback for Vanderbilt. We saw LSU upset Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And we've seen some dominant performances by Florida, Tennessee, most notably this year. And we've seen a resurgent Kentucky program in the SEC appearing to get better and better all the time. And maybe LSU can sneak into a bowl game today with a victory over Arkansas. And don't forget about those Razorbacks. Frank Broyles will get them going with Danny Ford. And we're down to the final 40 seconds.
There's our guy again, Leland Taylor, with another stop.
Hey, Jack, it's been great having you with us. Thanks for coming over from the ACC side and sitting in with us for the final game of the year here in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, I enjoyed it. I was very impressed. I'd seen some of the Tennessee action this year, heard a lot about them, and they certainly lived up to their billing.
Third down and 6. Douglas flushed out and cracked down over the 30. He's got a first down, and it'll be the final Vanderbilt first down of the season as Tennessee wins it 62-14. Philip Fulmer goes 9-1-1 in his first full season as Tennessee head coach. And we're back to Knoxville after this from your local SEC station.